Good morning and welcome to the Gruber Power Hour. I'm Janie.
I'm Nicole.
And I'm Pete Gruber.
Today, we're going to continue off of our previous podcast to discuss our customer service and what we do to take care of our customers
Exactly.
and how we do it. And so one of the first things that I wanted to talk about that sets us apart from other companies out there, in particular corporations that operate in our industry, is our account managers. Our account managers are the first step that takes care of our customers, and they're a pivotal point in it. And they develop relationships with our customers, long-lasting relationships, and that's fundamentally how we built the business, right, Pete?
Totally,
how this
yes.
business is structured?
Organizations are about high-quality people and overachievers, and when you have that combination, you're unstoppable.
Right, and we get those long-lasting relationships that we've built up over the years, lasting 10, 15, 20.
I was going to say 2030 with Liz.
Right?
Yeah.
Right, exactly. And as we progress over the next several podcasts, what we're going to do is explore talking to the people that develop those relationships, talking with those account managers, talking to our internal employees and who takes care of those customers, how they do it. Go further in that.
Real quick, Jeannie.
Yes.
Do you want to talk about those giant numbers floating behind you guys?
Yeah, the phone numbers.
Absolutely.
Except for
That's
my
actually
head's in the way.
right where I was going
Sorry.
with this. That was next on our agenda. We want to talk about, the various ways we take care of those customers. And the first and foremost being our free tech support line that we offer for our customers, which would be the phone numbers that we have behind us. Tell us a little bit about
Nice.
that, Pete.
Well, the 800 number in the middle, by the way, was something that we got like 37
Thanks, Jeff.
years ago. And when we were still small, and to get an 800 number back then was quite an achievement. You know, it's a toll-free number, obviously. And so we're very proud of that. We've kept that all these years. At one point in time, the service that you buy them from owned it. And then Congress passed a law that said, no, you can't do that. So we were able to purchase it from them. And now we own it.
Wow.
But yeah, these are the extensions and the phone numbers to reach tech support. The after-hours emergency service number, by the way, if you have an emergency and you need tech support, we offer free tech support, even if you're not on contract with us, even if you're with another carrier, because our feeling is that when you go down in the middle of the night at 2 a.m. in the morning and your data center operations is shut down, you need help right now. And if you can't get a hold of your provider, we're more than willing to step in and fill that need. We've got a video coming out on YouTube within the next week or so that actually talks about some of these free services that we offer, and free tech support will be one of those. But that number at the bottom there is the after hours 24/7 tech support number or emergency number.
And we actually put our customers in contact with our technicians that are out in the field 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So at those vital moments, those critical moments. And we've had a lot of those incoming calls during startups, during PMs being done, when they have anything going on out there with their units.
Or when there's a crisis after
Those
a
alarms.
storm rolls through and everything is shut down and things are
Right.
beeping, and the next morning people aren't going to be able to work. They need help now.
Right.
By the way, while we're talking about the numbers up there, the picture. We live in Phoenix, Arizona, and sunrises and sunsets like this are fairly common. This happened to be a sunrise, and for us it's kind of ho-hum. We got another great sunrise, but sometimes I take pictures of it. And this was one that I captured one morning as I was coming in and thought, this might make a good backdrop someday, and here it is.
Yes, it's fantastic. It showcases our buildings, who we are, how we operate.
And those
Yeah.
are two buildings, by the way, on 2nd Avenue. There are more buildings behind on Central Avenue and to the south on Lone Cactus. We have 7 commercial buildings, and these two, the one on the left, is the Power Services building, which is what this podcast is about.
Right. Awesome. Well, we've got a nice facility that we operate in, which is wonderful. Part of continuing with this venture of taking care of our customers is talking about our free site visits we offer for our customers. We are a nationwide service provider. And what we do is we do have technicians. We have affiliates that we work with out in the field. And we ensure that we're able to provide the ability to go out to our customers, whether it be a technician or our account managers as well. Our account managers will go out and do site visits with customers all over the United States.
Right.
We've visited many states. Florida, we've flown out to.
Oh, in
We
fact,
do a lot in the
probably all the
Midwest,
states,
too.
yeah, I would say. But, oftentimes it's important to put eyes and ears on the equipment in order
Right.
to find the correct solutions for that customer. Service contracts, time and materials, all of that. And of course, relationship building. It's no secret that in any business venture, people do business with people. I'm from a generation where texting and emails are secondary. They're
Didn't
not
exist.
primary. And I'm constantly encouraging people here, you need to talk to your customers. You need to call them or go visit them. It's very important in the type of business that we're in.
Absolutely.
Am I talking too much? Am I doing okay?
No, you're doing great. I appreciate the feedback. Absolutely. One of the other values, assets that we have per se, would be our CRM system that we work within. It's the fact that we have a system that we have owned outright that we're able to navigate and utilize to take care of or watch or oversee or keep track of the equipment that our customers have, which is critical in the industry that we're in. As I've talked to other businesses and things like that are in our industry, having a system that lets you know when that equipment is due to have services, keeping track of those dates is super important. And that's what helps the account managers, our service team, all of us ensure
Support staff.
it's the support staff, yes, keeping everybody on track and ensuring that the customers don't lose any time,
Right.
So,
As a company historian, I can
Yeah,
tell you the
that's what I
background
wanna
on
know.
CRM, by the way, is Customer Relationship Manager software.
yes.
And in the early days, people had notebooks. We're talking about the mid 80s.
Right.
And in those notebooks, there was a piece of paper, and every piece of paper was related to a customer. And we had different colors, blue sheets, green sheets, white sheets, right? And when you got done talking to a customer, you actually hand wrote notes on that sheet in that notebook. Problem with that was it wasn't networkable. In other words, the guy sitting across the room didn't know what John was working on, And mid 80s or so, there was an ad in the San Diego Times for a CRM software package called Telemagic. For $99, you could get a CRM package
Wow.
in DOS-based black screen. There was no Windows yet, right?
Nope.
And we bit the bullet and spent $99 to buy this. I mean, back in the early days, that was you had to watch every shekel, right?
Right.
Well, we loved it because now we had a networked database instead of having these the notebooks
Yes.
with the blue sheets or green sheets or whatever.
Right.
And now we were able to actually see what we were all doing. And today it's even more important because all the support functions tie into this as well. So they see what the salespeople see what the service operations people are doing. And at a moment's notice, when there's an update done, everybody knows what's going on with that customer real time, live.
Right.
Yes.
And it's the tracking system that's so valuable that we're able to track, like I said, those dates and knowing when the equipment is due.
It's so easy when you have a job in the minor part of your job is making sure your stuff is maintained and up to date
Right.
because you have all of your other things that are going on. So I think that helps the customers because that's not something they concentrate on because that's like very secondary to what they actually do. And so I think that helps them because, we have the emails and then the support staff and the account
Right.
managers and everybody helps keep them in tune with that. And so there are a lot of customers that are very grateful that we remember when they've kind of gotten busy doing their actual job.
When their preventive maintenance is
When
due.
their preventive maintenance is due and
When their batteries have aged
Exactly.
beyond useful lifespan. And by the way, that brings us up to auto notify.
Right.
which
I
we
almost
have.
busted that one out. Sorry.
We have a
Went down
video
there.
on our YouTube channel, the Gruber Power Services YouTube channel. It was just added a few weeks ago, and it's about Auto Notify, which is, again, a free service that we offer. Think of it this way. When you buy a Chevy Tahoe, that dealership within a year is going to remind you your oil change is due or certain types of maintenance is due. Well, that's what Auto Notify does. It keeps you on track. You can ignore it, act on it. It doesn't matter. It's a free service that we offer that keeps our customers in tune with what's going on with their equipment and when certain proactive services are due.
You know, when I've seen it be of value most often is when you have new facilities or IT person taking over a role
Yes.
at a company. And sure enough, they will reply to those auto notifies. I've just transferred into this position. I've just taken over responsibility of these the equipment at the site, and this let me know that I needed to have something done. Please let me know what else we need to do. You know, and that's when we go on to doing site visits and helping them ensure that the equipment is up to date. And yeah,
And oftentimes they may ask, my predecessor did not leave a lot of information for whatever reason.
right.
Can you get us a complete service history on the equipment that's on contract with you? And we're more than happy to oblige because all of that is in our network database.
Exactly.
So we share that with the new person coming in or the new team in some cases.
Right. Absolutely.
And pretty quickly because it's so easily accessible.
Right. As we're exploring, and I've highlighted some ways that we take care of our customers, we've got the auto notify. What we're launching into now is doing the video shorts
Yes.
and these podcasts. And we've had a lot of value added from when Elvis and Claude were going into doing a lot of the technical support. And that's helpful for our customers, and that's part of how we take care of our customers is by providing those areas. Yeah. Information.
Our company's websites are being revamped right now. And they already have
exciting.
a number of things, a number of tools like live chat, for example,
Right.
and then, of course, all of the products that we sell and the services that we offer. However, what we're doing now is not only revamping the websites, but we're creating corresponding video content that goes along with the various sections. Like yesterday, for example, I was working on the free tech support portion. Yeah, there's a section on the website that talks about that, gives these numbers, but in the video, it expands quite a bit. And each of the website pages now that have a corresponding video are going to have a little icon that our customers can click on to get the rest of the story. So that's going to be quite valuable for the customers. It's going to add some value.
Nice.
I know the
Continue
team's
to
working
evolve.
really hard on it and it does look really awesome.
Yeah, I'm excited. I can't wait for us to launch that portion out.
We
on
get
its way.
Excited.
we get little previews and it really is looking pretty good.
And then it's also educational. We have a tutorial series that is evolving out there. You know, how many people know what lockout tagout is, LOTO? We have a complete video that describes that, the importance of that, why it's used in the industry. So we're very focused on educating the customers and sharing the knowledge that we've amassed for 40 years now in the critical power business.
Right.
And it's good for training our new employees too. It helps them to catch up and catch the lingo and understand what our policies and procedures are and how things work on our side. So I use that a lot for our new personnel coming in that are just new to the industry and learning a little bit at a time, just like I did. I've learned a lot from the shorts and stuff as well. So definitely helpful all the way around, in company and out of company.
Sure, they need to be conversant. So when somebody goes out and watches a video, our people need to be able to explain all of the aspects in that video or the content on that website.
Well, it's again goes back to us being consultants and helping our customers. Our account managers are out there to help and provide the best avenue the most successful avenue for our customers in the best situation. You talk about that often, Nicole. That's
Yes, I
something
do.
that I hear you talk about frequently,
very
is
much.
how a big part of, what we do is not to just sell the latest and fastest and most exciting thing
Right.
out there. It's about providing our customers with the best equipment for their needs.
And it's a lot of it is so I start with the incoming the first section, the SST, where they're calling the customers or potential customers trying to get this information to see what we can help them. And one of the things that I focus on is we want to make sure that you get set up with equipment that's good for you now, but also that you can grow into, because most companies want to grow. That's your goal. Your goal is to grow, or else you wouldn't be an entrepreneur working on a company. So we want to make sure that you're taken care of now, but we also want to make sure when you're spending that kind of money and that kind of time and redoing your electricity and things, that you have something that you can grow into and grow with your company, because that's the best thing for you guys. A lot of people may not think about 10 years from now, but we definitely do. That's something that Justin Brownlow, one of our account managers, who mentored me, has kind of made sure that everybody that he talks to and everybody he mentors is all on the same page. And he has a great way of explaining things. And that's his thing, is like, in 10 years from now, you don't want them spending all of that money when they could just be buying, just more power mods or more batteries versus buying a whole new UPS. So that's definitely something that he's very conscientious about and teaches everybody else to be that
Right.
way as well.
Scalable systems that the customer can grow into, anticipating their future needs. I'll tell you a funny story. Back in the day, and we're talking 40 years ago, the people in our business were manufacturers' representatives. They were, there was a Liebert rep, there was an Exide rep, there was a Mitsubishi rep, an APC rep, and these people were obligated to sell only that brand.
Right.
Because they had a territory. Any sales that came out of that territory, whether they were involved or not, they got a commission on. And heaven forbid that they would ever offer a Liebert if they were an APC rep, right? That would be a violation of their contract.
Right.
Problem with that is one size does not fit all.
Exactly.
Certain manufacturers were better with the small UPSs, like Trip Light, for example.
Right.
And certain ones were much better with the large UPSs. So a new breed began to emerge, and they're not manufacturers' reps anymore. They're companies like us that represent a wide range of brands, and we're able to actually identify the correct solution for the customer, not for our needs because we have a contractual obligation.
Right.
And that's a big part of our development and training and bringing in new employees into the company, is ensuring that they learn from a model of making sure that our customers are put in a position to be most successful
Exactly.
in their outcome. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's a big part of it. So one of the things, unless you all had anything more to say regarding any of those.
Well, I'm sure I will, but I can't think of it right now.
Okay.
I mean, I'm never at a loss for words, so I could probably go on forever.
Okay,
but-
right, we can continue
We can
that.
move.
All right, so one of the things I'm excited about over the next, I've got 3 or 4 podcasts we have coming up where we're involving our employees are coming in, and they're going to be telling us about their roles, what they do within the company. And so I wanted to talk to you two regarding the same questions that we're going to talk to them about and ask and get your feedback.
Oh,
And
fair
we're going to
enough.
start out with you guys. So Pete, let's start out with you.
Okay.
I would like, well, the first question here is the number of years working at Gruber Power Services.
All of them. Every one of them.
How many years have you worked here?
Well, I worked in the house in 1983.
Okay, there we go.
40 years, yeah.
There we go. All right. And what is your role here? How would you describe your role here?
The easiest definition is chief cook and bottle washer. I mean, I'd like to say I'm the CEO, and,
Oh,
but
right.
yeah.
Right.
No, I enjoy it. This morning, I was driving a four-wheel drive, supposedly four-wheel drive forklift to pull some cars out of some dirt over in our new storage building. And tomorrow, I'll be welding up carts for the GMC group. And this afternoon, I'm going to work on the website. I'm going to work on the video content. So I like the variety. And so I don't really have a set job description.
What is it that
That's what I
the
enjoy.
name plaque at your door says?
Oh, yes. Thank you for
You're
pointing that out.
welcome.
I am the executive assistant to the customer. And
There you go.
that explains our culture. You guys, okay, all of you don't work for me or the manager that's in between you and, me. We all work for the customer. And if we always remember that, everything takes care of itself. We'll know exactly what to do and how to do it.
Right.
So that simplifies things.
What I enjoy, and I'll just put it on this,
Yeah.
is I like the aspect that you're involved with everybody at every level, no matter what the work is that's involved in doing it. You'll jump in and dive in and help us out.
Mm-hmm.
It
I
doesn't
do it
matter what
because
aspect of it is.
It's fun. I enjoy it.
And we actually have a couple of new staff this week. And one of the new people came to me and said, I met Pete. He came and introduced himself to me. And I was like, yeah, that's Pete. That's how he is. And he was
Right.
like, I've never had an owner of a company come and introduce themselves to me and just treat me like a normal person and say, hey, I'm glad you're here. Let me know if you need
Right.
anything. Like, he was very impressed. And I said, no, that's just Pete. That's how he is. He's in the day-to-day operations. He talks to everybody. He knows who everybody is. There's not a
Right.
single person in this company that he does not converse with on a regular basis. And that's
Right.
impressive to me because I've also been in situations where not even do you not know the owner, you don't actually know who your actual like top tier boss is. Like, you know, your next boss and maybe the one after that, but the guy after that, nobody ever sees. So that's something that I've picked up on, as well as all of the rest of the employees that I've, that have started since I have, is you going and introducing yourself to each one of them. And that means a lot to them.
It does.
It really does.
I've heard the same feedback as well.
No, we're a
Yes.
team,
Yeah.
and we all have different roles.
Well, that sets up the culture.
Right.
That starts the culture as to who we are and how we operate. And in fact, where I was going to go with this, but you talked about a little bit about this, but the next
we
question.
have two questions. You
Oh,
want me to handle
there we
those?
go. Sure.
Instagram is joining us. Thank you, Instagram.
Yay.
By the way, for those of you on Instagram, we have two of you. You're not seeing the green screen behind us. If you want the full experience, go to YouTube and you'll see that beautiful sunrise picture with two of our commercial buildings. The questions are from Instagram. M.Baskaya says, hi, everybody. Welcome. Thanks for joining us. Instagram, deep_Shinglot. Why is he always wearing shades?
It's all the time. It's not just the podcast.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
He's usually got a beanie on. It's in his lap, though.
And of course, before I came downstairs, somebody upstairs, because I forgot my glasses and I had to put them on. And she said, you know what? This is probably because you're AI, right? And you want to hide your eyes. So we are going to have a reveal someday as to why there are usually sunglasses involved in Gruber Productions. And then YouTube, Hanji Zoe says, it's very encouraging to see a owner of a company after 40 years so active and hands-on. Well, thank you. Yes.
Very much.
Yes, that's exactly what we're talking about. It sets up the culture and the type of company we are and how we work together.
Janie and I went rogue on the culture and decided against the shades. Sorry, guys.
Yeah,
Well, they're not AI. That's why.
right, right.
We're real.
So the next question that comes into play, and what sets this company apart from other places you've worked? We kind of talked a little bit about
did,
that
yeah.
last week. How would you describe the company culture and your colleagues?
Well,
Go ahead.
to get back to what we were talking about earlier about the fact that I take the time to talk to people.
Right.
When I worked in corporate America, it was crystal clear that there was a caste system, just like there is in India. There's certain people that are lower caste, middle class, and then upper, right? And they really don't mingle or communicate with each other. And I saw that very clearly in corporate America. People would not talk to the janitorial staff, for example. They kept to themselves and talked amongst themselves. And they were surprised when someone would come in and say, hey, guys, how's it going? You're doing a great job with the floor, whatever, right? And what I realized back then was that the people that subscribe to the caste system are going to have a difficult time talking to anybody that they feel is superior to them. So they were unable to communicate with the upper management team in corporate America. I found it easy because I was able to talk to the janitorial staff and the upper management people because we're all the same. We're all people, just different roles.
And our janitorial staff is amazing, by the way.
They are.
Some of the
Yes.
nicest,
Absolutely.
sweetest people here.
Yeah.
Yes,
Well-
very refreshing and happy all the time. And I mean,
Absolutely.
even being janitorial staff, they love their jobs. So that says a lot too.
And it always smells so good when they
It
get done.
does.
Have you noticed
I
that?
guess.
I know.
You
It
can
is
tell
so
when
nice.
it's floor mopping day for
Yes,
sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, it sets us up in a place where everybody can talk to each other to be more successful, because then there's that open avenue for areas that we can improve, areas that we can do things differently or do things better, and that leaves that door open. Yeah. What do we got going on the board here?
Sorry, I was trying to go
All right. The lightning can't catch me says,
Okay.
wait until the new employees get to go on a Tesla ride with Pete.
That's always a fun adventure.
I almost threw up right here, hit the back of the seat.
Right?
We let's give them a little bit more information.
Right.
I have a Tesla P90D Ludicrous before even the P100 came out, and what it does is what's called a ludicrous launch, 0 to 60 in 2.3 seconds or something like that.
Was it that long?
Yeah.
I didn't feel like it.
Right.
And what was fun all the time was we would get visitors, and they were intrigued by Teslas, and they wanted to see autopilot, and they wanted to do a ludicrous launch. And the funniest part for me was we'd get the corporate guys coming in with the suits, and they're pretty serious and straight laced, right?
Oh, yeah.
But I'd get them in that Tesla with the ludicrous mode, and we do a launch, and the next thing I know, I look over and they're stamping their feet and giggling like schoolgirls. It's just like a
wait a
roller coaster ride. Yeah.
Yeah, the typical response.
But
That's
yeah, we
awesome.
fully enjoy the performance cars that we have.
Oh, yeah. They're fun.
Andrew Glenn says, I like how involved you all are. Yeah, it's part of our culture. To us, it feels normal. It doesn't
Right,
seem
exactly.
unusual, but
Right.
yeah.
Well, it allows you to enjoy your job. And when you enjoy your job, you enjoy coming to work every day.
Right.
And taking care of the customers. It all comes back to, and then again, you talk about the tenureships that we have here, the longevity with our employees. And that's a big part of it. And that's what sponsors that, is having that, Last question I have for you, Pete.
Sure.
What advice would you give to a new employee?
To any employee at any
Exact-
company, actually, it would be my broader definition of that.
Okay.
You spend the majority of your life at work. If you really count, the hours and the minutes. You have to enjoy that, because if you don't, you spend a majority of your life unhappy, miserable, waiting for the 5 o'clock bell to ring, not working on your career, developing your skills. And what makes life enjoyable is when you're happy. Your health is there. There's a lot of negative things that happen with your body if you're depressed, unhappy, not fulfilled. And guess what? It's not your job that's going to give you that. It's you and your attitude and how you look at your job that's going to flip that switch and make you happy, make you involved, and make you excited about coming to work every day. You have to do that yourself. And of course, then we get into the greener grass. We have people leave here occasionally. And what I find fascinating is that some of them come back because they realize that greener grass was not greener.
Yeah. We've had a couple.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Nicole,
We're
Let-
going with my stay positive,
stay positive.
Yeah.
talking about your attitude.
Right.
Stay
Exactly.
positive.
That's the movement. Let's go through the line with you as well.
Okay.
All right. Number of years you've worked at Gruber Power Services.
3.
3. Very good.
Previous podcast, not quite. Today podcast 3.
Yeah.
There you
Hit
go.
my anniversary somewhere in
there. Awesome. What is your role here? How would you
So-
describe it?
My role or my title. So I'm the
Cool.
sales support lead, is my title, but my role is to find amazing candidates that are going to fit in with our culture for sure, that care about customer service, and bring them in and train them and show them the telemagic system, and kind of give them an idea of how we go about taking care of our customers. I know every company is different. They all have a different way of doing things. And I think the way we do things here is very unique. Part of that is because we have so many different departments and so many sets of people that do so many different things that specialize in what they do, which is really helpful because account managers have a lot and they know so much and they do what they can. But then you have like Laura Lee and Michael and them that come in and schedule all the servicing and do all of that. So kind of teaching them how all of that works and preparing them to move up within the company and be account managers themselves. And it's very awesome to see everybody as they promote and do their thing. And it's very fulfilling to do that. And some of them come at me with questions I've never heard of and I never would have thought of. And a lot of them teach me things because I'm in that age group where computers in high school was learning how to type on the home keys, kind of what they were talking about yesterday in their podcast with Wired. But unless you went to college at my age, there wasn't the learning how to actually figure out the computers because I'm in that weird age gap. So they teach me a lot of stuff all the time too. So that's fun too.
Oh yeah.
We kind of teach each other and rely on each other, and it's interesting.
Not to deviate, but when you're talking about technology and where your age group fell in, the thing that happened this year that I just didn't even think about us encountering and happening with the difference in age groups was we brought a new employee in, we have a desk phone. And they say, I've never used a desk phone before.
Yeah, I remember that. I do.
That actually happened this year, and it's no fault of their own.
No.
You know, it's just where we're at with technology in this day and age. And, going through explaining the transfer button, the whole.
Well, also,
and you just never think
How to
about
check
it.
the voicemail.
Yeah.
Right. I also had, I love her and I miss her so much.
Yes.
I had an employee, she had to move to another state, relocate for family stuff that was going on to help take care of her mother. And she didn't know what a fax was. And I don't think I've ever laughed so hard in my life when she was like, what's a fax? How do you do a fax? And I was like, is there candid camera? And then I had to step back and realize how old I was at that moment. And I was like, oh my word. But we explained it to her. It took us a little while to figure out the words and she was like, so does it like float? I'm like, no, it's kind of like a text message. And then it was fine. But it was like, is it the same piece of paper that you put in the fax machine comes out on the other side? And I'm like, no, it's just a picture of it. But that just having to realize how different things are from when I started working to teaching people that are just now coming into the workforce now, it's crazy.
Things are progressing so rapidly, and that's where it's coming from. And the reason that came up was because in our CRM system that we have, we ensure that we have all the different ways to get a hold of our customers and contact them. And of course, fax was a way that we have had a way to get a hold of our customers.
And the crazy thing is the customer said, fax me. And she was like, fax you? So there are people still that do actually still use fax machines in 2023, 2024. It's crazy. But yeah, so that's the age difference thing is it really, I feel old a lot of times now. I definitely do.
All right. So you ready for the next question?
What
sets this company apart from other places you've worked?
Well, my work history isn't huge. Before this, I worked for also a family company.
All right.
So I prefer the smaller, where the owners are involved in the day-to-day basis.
Right.
I've worked for corporate America as well. But one of the things that's different about Gruber is that we all genuinely like each other. We all genuinely like our jobs. everybody here is willing to stop and help. I know when I first started in SST, terrified, having to sit at a cubicle was a lot for me because I came from outside sales. So it was a huge.
Oh, I remember.
I cried every day for
remember
2
those
weeks. It was
days.
awful. And Janie was amazing in helping me through all this because she realized like what
She was going
a
through the
shock it was because like I was, it was so different to me.
Right.
And the fact that you just kind of pulled me aside in the conference room was like, hey, like we'll work through this, let's
I've been
make
through
it
it
work.
myself.
Exactly.
Right.
And people don't do that. Like normal companies don't do normal companies don't do that. So that in itself was one of my first impressions was I'm having a hard time mentally adjusting to being from outside sales to actually being in an office, even clocking. I haven't clocked in and out in 20 years before I came here. So the whole system was different to me. So that was my first impression. And as I was on the phones and stumbling through my phone calls, because that's, kind of what you do. Charles, he sat on the other side of the wall from me and he would listen to what I'd say. And if I got stuck on the phone and he knew I was stuck on the phone, he'd peep over the wall and help me, get through that phone call because the customer's asking questions. And I'm like, oh, I didn't expect you to ask any questions. But until I got through all of that like green area, Charles and Raylena, and there was everybody, they'll stop and listen to you. They'll write you little notes and help you through everything and give you tips. And so everybody does that. And we continue to do it to the people that come in after us because that's what they did for us.
Right.
And so just everybody helps each other out. Everybody looks out for each other. We all genuinely like each other. We all genuinely care about each other. Even our outside of work lives, we all know what's going on. We're all involved with each other's children. And so that's why it's different to me because I'm not used to the closeness and the actual comfort. It's very comforting.
It's like a community.
It is. And it's very comfortable here. And so that's what I see. That's what I feel. And that's why I'm still here. Honestly.
I love that. That's wonderful. That's that's exactly what we want to do.
Right.
Okay. So next, how would you describe this company culture and your colleagues? I think they're kind of overlapping a little bit there with the question.
Same time.
Yeah, right. So let's go to the next one. What advice would you give to a new employee?
I give my new employees advice every day. So anybody that's looking to come and work here, I guess might be a better thing.
There you go.
Because part of my job is advising the new employees.
Right.
But here it's a lot about your personality. It's a lot about fitting in as far as being able to open up and talk to people and accept that constructive criticism, which is actually just help. Definitely be yourself, have fun, ask questions, please ask questions. If there's anything you don't know, you don't understand, you want like any help on, just ask the questions. Don't ever try to fumble your way through something that you don't know, like I'm doing right now. Sorry, guys. I didn't really think this one all the way through.
Yeah.
But what I tell the new employees, like my biggest advice is just do what we tell you to, because one day it'll make sense.
Yeah.
There's a
Right,
lot
I
of
hear you
things that
say
we
that.
do that when you're doing it at first, you're like, this makes no sense. Like, why do I get this date from the customer? Like,
Right.
it's like, who cares
What-
when the last time it was done? But eventually when you get to a certain part in your training and everything starts to click, you're like, oh, now I understand. If I know the last time, then I know the next time, and we can filter our calls around it and things like that. So that's my biggest advice to them when they start is, we're going to tell you a lot of stuff that may not make sense, and it will eventually make sense. So
Right.
do it, but ask questions.
Right.
But yeah, definitely be yourself, enjoy it.
Right. Right. Exactly. Well, that's awesome. I love that input. Looks like we've got somebody, Twin Mom 1492. For me, the phones were confusing at first since I was used to the Aviana application with other employees. Rep 92.
That's an AT&T phone system. I think that's the
Okay.
Avaya phone
that's
system.
Avaya.
Yeah.
Okay. Avaya. Yes. I remember. I recall Vias.
And you know what we're
Yeah.
talking about here is more related to a strict call center environment where people are sitting there and they're fed calls. What we do is quite a bit different. We do relationship building. We target specific industries.
Right.
We then try to contact the decision makers that are responsible for the critical power equipment in those buildings or in their businesses. And then we begin to talk to them about the types of services that we can offer. And you mentioned dates, for example. A critical date is, when does your service agreement on that critical power equipment renew?
Right.
Because that's when we want to be very visible and present or put in a bid on that equipment.
Right. Right. The battery dates are so important.
Mm-hmm.
Again, you get wrapped up in your job, and watching those batteries isn't your job. Taking care of the network is your job, and you tend to not really necessarily remember that. Hey, like your remote batteries in your TV remote, you don't remember they need change until they explode. You don't want your UPS batteries exploding, so that's part of what we're doing, is trying to help prevent things like that.
Or that headset that I use there on the other
Or the headset.
podcasts.
I
And
was wondering
it
about
has
that.
2 AAA batteries in it. And sometimes in the middle of a podcast, I suddenly can't hear anything anymore
Right.
because those batteries were not replaced on a schedule.
See?
When that happens in an uninterruptible power system, your entire data center goes down.
right.
Or worse yet, when you need the UPS because your power got killed by somebody driving into a telephone pole,
Exactly.
you suddenly realize you don't have 15 minutes, time enough to kick on the emergency generator. If it's
Right.
an extended outage, your power's gone within 30 seconds or a minute.
Why don't you go ahead and read off the next one, Nicole?
I feel like Pete should do this one.
Oh, okay.
Kiki Chef says, my Gramps' favorite saying was, "You earn what you learn. There are no dumb questions." So there's a fun story behind that.
Yeah. I fully agree. I have people all the time, come up and say, this may be a stupid question. There's no
Yes.
such thing,
Ask the
that's-
stupid questions. So Kiki Chef is one of my employees, actually. And, well, she's all of our employee, but she's one of the ones that I supervised, my first awesome hire. And her grandpa used to work here with Pete many, many, many years ago. So it's gone full circle. And so Gramps saying,
Referencing.
right, you earn what you
Yes.
learn. He was an employee here for a long time as well.
Pete Koenig, yes. He was an institution. He was the service manager before Claude, and I think before someone else as well. And well respected, too. One of those people from a generation where your word was your bond, and took a high degree of interest in mentoring and developing people around him. And that's the hallmark of a great manager.
Right.
They're not trying to build up their own ego or their own prestige or they're focused on developing people that they work with.
Right. And
Yes.
going back to the whole culture thing, and everybody enjoys their job and everybody knows everybody and helps everybody. You can walk around now. I mean, he hasn't worked here in what?
I'm bad with timelines, but it was a long
I
time
was
ago.
gonna say,
At least a decade
I
or
want to
more,
say it
yes.
was like 20 years ago, probably.
Okay.
I'm
Yeah.
sure Kira will let us know. But you can walk through the halls and talk to people here, and they still know him.
Yeah.
And they still can tell you stories about things he's taught them and things they've learned from him, and just how he was as a
awesome.
person and how he was always there for people. And, he would go out back and help, out in the warehouse and stuff. And so there's still a lot of history here, and people that have been gone for several years that, people here still remember things about them. And that's cool. And it also speaks to
neat.
how long people stay and how long people have been here, because again, he's, hasn't been here in decades and people still know who he was. So
That's neat.
that's it. That you don't get that.
Yeah.
You don't get that a lot
Yeah.
of places.
To
So
have that history.
yeah.
And while on that subject, by the way, one of the things that I'm personally proud of about our culture is that when people reach 65 or 67 or whatever, we don't kick them out the door because they need to retire now. We allow people to make that decision. We allow people to scale back. We allow them to go part-time. We allow them to leave with dignity,
Right.
continuing to exercise what they love doing. And not all companies are like that. My wife works for American Express, and you hear about these tragedies once in a while where people were let go like 1 year before their retirement, or they got ill and they weren't able to give 100% anymore. Instead of putting them on a part-time basis, they let them go, But yeah, it's some companies when they're like this that are sole proprietors. We're not publicly traded. We don't answer to shareholders, which are profit motivated. Companies like this have a soul, is the way that I like to think about it.
Yes.
And the human relationships are very important here. So that's why I like working here. By the way,
That's why you like working here.
Not because your
love
name's
that.
on the building, right there, right.
if that
Where's
mandatory retirement clause was in place here, I am 72 and I'm still working and I love
That's
every minute of
fantastic.
it.
Every day.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I
He's here
plan-
before everybody and leaves
And
about
you're
the same
running
time
around
shortly
here
out
like the
after.
30-year-olds.
Yeah, on his
You
little
know?
electric scooter. So Pete, we were talking about just a few minutes ago. Kira says he retired in 2011. She
Okay.
thinks so.
So 12 years ago. Yeah, that would be about right then.
What is I think the lightning can't catch me.
Right.
If you have patience and drive to get through the first 6 months of training, you can have a challenging and rewarding career at Gruber.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. And that's what we love
Right.
to, what's the word I'm looking for? But we love
Emphasize?
to emphasize. Thank you. That's
And
the yin
we
and
say
the yang.
right, and we say if you get through the first week, that's the hardest. The first week is
Right.
the hardest, and then once you keep going after here for a couple months, you're good. Once you're here a year, you're a lifer.
There you go. That's the story.
That's kind of how it goes around here, I think.
Yes.
At least that's what we tell everybody. It so far seems true since
There
I've
you
been
go.
here. So
Well, I figured I would finish up with discussing these same questions relevant to myself now.
okay. So Janie, how many
you go.
years have you been working at Gruber Power Services?
Well, actually, next month will be 10 years.
That's a long
And,
time.
you know, I never thought or envisioned myself staying or being at a place for that length of time. And there's a reason I say this is because I came from another industry, mortgage banking and financing, and growing up, and I did that for many years. We won't discuss how many years. That gives away age, right?
Right.
So
We don't
for
talk about age.
many, many years. And in that industry, it is just common. You go from job to job to job.
Right.
It's just known, you know, banks come and go and investment firms and things like that. So you're just used to going from job to job to job. And so I really never thought myself as finding a place. I wanted to, of course, ultimately, but I was looking for a new career, another place in my life. Like, where was I going to go that could be provided the stability, that I can grow, I can learn, get really good at, put all my efforts and energy into it, and find success. And so that's where I came in, and I took a position, and I'll share it, and I share this often with the new hires. You know, I come in the same level that all of you are coming in at. I started out on the phones in Gruber Industries. You know, I was sat at a desk. Here's our database. We have an extensive list of customers, and we need to reach out to those customers, find our new contacts. You know, a lot of people have left companies, and we need to find those buyers in those companies again, and establishing those relationships again. So I dug into it, and I'm like, okay, I'll take that position, and I'm just going to go forward in it as best as I can to create every opportunity for growth and advancement. So one of the things that I value and I love about this place is I was afforded every opportunity for growth. And so I will tell the new employees, I'm kind of skipping around on my questions here. I will tell the new employees and the new folks coming into the company, I was afforded every opportunity. If you find an area that we could enhance ourselves or improve, dig into it, go for it. And I was afforded those opportunities, so I like to afford those opportunities in return. You know, you put the efforts, energy, and drive into what you do, and the sky's the limit.
Right.
You can be CEO. Sorry, Pete.
Junior, CEO,
You
junior.
know? Yeah, but yeah, I envision that for anybody else that comes into the company, just put that drive and passion and energy forward and find areas that we can improve ourselves. That's what's exciting is when you come up with an idea and say, hey, look, can we do this differently? Or can we, try to do this and work more effective?
And one of the things about that, I'm writing notes.
I see that. Yeah.
Ownership. If somebody comes to anybody in any leadership or management role and says, hey, I got an idea, whatever, they don't then go to Pete and say, hey, I have this idea. They go to Pete and say, hey, Michael had this idea, Kira had this idea, Janie had this idea, whatever. And the ownership always stays with the person that created the idea. And you don't see that a lot in corporate America. So that's another thing that sets us apart.
Right.
You get credit for what you do. And also Gruber is very good at recognizing the effort and the talent and the things that people do to improve the company. Very good at that. That's something that I have never in all of my work history, we're not talking about how many years, never worked for a company that makes sure that you get recognized the way you need to be recognized and pulls people in and make sure Pete knows, hey, this is going on and this person started this, and that doesn't happen.
That kind of goes along the lines, though, and go back just a bit on what you said, where Claude says, we don't want to put a square peg in a round hole.
Right.
Right. We
Exactly.
find the talent and skills that person has.
And we build on it.
Exactly.
So I've got an observation.
Sure.
Janie's mom actually worked here as well, Barbara.
Yes.
She was an inspiration. She was. She had many years of experience in the mortgage industry.
Awesome.
Right.
And she just had a natural tendency to be a mentor to all the people around her.
Oh, yes.
And I could see that the apple didn't fall far from the tree, as the cliche says. But here's how you get promoted in a company like we have. You begin to assume the role. And what I mean by that is Janie wasn't just prospecting and using the tools, the CRM system, and finding customers. She was finding ways to improve the process and then sharing that. She was continuously problem solving. She, through her observations, came up with great ideas. And in corporate America, that's usually stifled. You're going to, endanger someone's position. Their ego is going to get ruffled. They have something to protect. And sometimes you have to wait for someone to retire or die in order to get promoted, right? In a entrepreneurial environment like what we have here, the exact opposite is true. If you demonstrate the skills, the willingness to learn, the willingness to expand and take on certain roles, eventually the promotion is yours. Why would private industry like us not put a person that has made the commitment, that has developed the skills in those roles? It's a simple business decision,
A smart one, too.
Yes.
Right.
And it keeps people engaged.
So that's how you get ahead. Assume more responsibility, even though that's not part of your paycheck yet. And I want to put that yet in there. Yes.
I know. I like that one. Yeah.
And that's one of the things we're not allowed to say around here is it's not my job. That is something we're not allowed to say.
Yeah, no. It's a team effort.
100%.
Absolutely.
Sons, fan for life says, or a fan for L, I'm assuming. Life. I enjoy the fact that every day presents new challenges and new opportunities to learn and grow. Critical power is always evolving. Yes. And brace yourselves, folks. The field of technology, and I've been in it since I was a kid, literally, is evolving so rapidly now. It is not just evolving, it's on an exponential scale. We're going to be sitting with robots in 5 to 10 years here. And they will be part of the humanoid, workforce. And there'll be augmentations. We're going to become much more. Well, here I go into my AI.
I know you can't help yourself. It's okay. It's okay.
I'm giving away one of my passions here.
Yes.
Well, what is exciting?
I also wanted to. My other note I wrote.
Oh, yes.
When you were talking about you were looking for a place where you can stay and have a career and work your way up and for the long term, when you're looking
Right.
for long term. That's one of the things that, and actually Janie is the pioneer. When you come to Gruber, I know when you start a lot of companies, like, oh yeah, we promote within. When you come to Gruber, we have it laid out
That path.
very
Right.
clearly. You're an SST, then you're a sales support assistant, and then you're an account manager assistant, and then your account manager, and what your time frame is 12 to 24 months, and what each position entails, what we need you to do to promote to the next position. And that structure in itself is also very different than any other company that I even know of, not even that I've worked for, but even that I know of. And friends
Right.
outside of Gruber will say, oh, I wish we had, something like that. We just hope
They
that
just
one day
launch somebody out there.
hope
Here
one
you
day we'll
go.
get promoted.
Right.
But that's one of the things that for people that are looking for a career, maybe you want something different. If you're in your 40s and you just want something new, because believe me, a lot of us restarted in our 40s.
Right.
You can become an account manager in 12 to 24 months. You can have a whole new life. You can do things so differently. And the business is always going to be there. You're always going to need power. Like, it doesn't matter what technology does. You're always going to need power for that technology. So it's a place where you can grow, and you have the stability, you have the future, and you have the path to do it. And we can show you what that path is. So you
Nice.
saying that just kind of
Rang
brought
that
that
bell.
on me. Yes.
You want to
Sorry.
know the motivation behind setting that up?
Yes, I actually do. You might have told me, but I might have forgotten.
No. To take care of the customers. It comes back from the same place.
Right.
Because then we can better support our customers.
That's true.
Having a team that is aligned and they are in positions where they have the resources and the people around them to be successful taking care of our customers for that successful outcome.
Right.
It's, it comes from, you don't want somebody to be in a position where they're not set up to take care of that customer in a successful outcome.
Exactly.
So it's just building up so that way we have a smooth transition of taking somebody from completely unknowledgeable.
Never even heard of a UPS.
Right, exactly. To transitioning to the
teaching people about
support that's needed in the critical power industry, because you need to be able to understand the nature, and timing is so important, being able to respond to the customers right away, being able to be there at a moment's notice,
And having the team set up too, that helps for instance, if somebody's on a site visit, we all have access to our team's emails.
Right.
So if somebody's, maybe they got sick or something happened, we always have people that can come in and jump in. And the way we have our systems in place, we can all jump in and help each other and get on their computer and know exactly where they are, or close enough to be able to jump in and help. Just because we have things set up in a certain way and we've all kind of been taught. I mean, everybody does things a little bit different, but it's enough alike that we can figure it out for each other and help each other, because ultimately, you don't know that you're not going to be there that day, or you didn't know that your site visit was going to be 4 hours instead of 2 hours, or what the
Right.
situation is. And just being able to have people to come in and help and take over where you are, that's one thing that separates us from everybody else. And again, back to enjoying your job and loving the people you work with, because you want them to be successful and you want them to help their customers when they can't be there, because you know that if something happens to you, they're going to be there to help your customers too.
So our customers are never neglected.
Exactly.
Got a
Bingo.
funny story to tell you. We're working with Tesla in Belgium right now for some parts, right? And we were in the middle of a lot of negotiation and finalizing, the project. And suddenly there was no response. And 3 weeks went by. It was like we were being ghosted. And we finally get an email. Oh, I was on a leave of absence. I'm back now.
Yeah. No.
Bingo.
Can you
We
imagine
don't
our
want that
customers
to
for
happen.
3 weeks not being? I got an alarm going. I got some batteries dead. And
Jessica
it's 3
would
weeks.
not let that happen.
Oh, I know. Right. And we have our checks and balances
Yes.
too. Her name is Jessica. She makes sure we all are on top of things.
Exactly.
And her job is technically the auditor. Maybe we can get her to
Quality
come in.
specialist.
Quality
Yes,
specialist.
and we are getting her to come in.
And
Yes.
so her job is making sure we keep up with our side of making sure the customers are taken care of. So she's like the backup to the backup to the backup, just to make sure that we do not miss anything for our customers, which is another thing that I've never seen any other company do.
Right. So I'd like to end this with, I'm just going to skip some of these here because we've really covered them
Kind
well.
of covered them all.
What advice I would give to a new employee? And that is to be open, have your mind open, be ready, active, present, listening. I go back to fundamentals. Use the tools you're given. One of the things that we will always do is provide lots of tools and resources, utilize them. Take advantage of, what we've got to be able to become successful.
And the lessons that everybody else has learned along the way.
Right. And
Patience.
patience. Yes.
Just don't pray
patience
for
is-
that. Don't pray for patience.
Yes, it's the willingness. Just having that willingness to learn.
That's our attribute this month.
There you go.
Hey.
Exactly. All right. So anyways, we'll end this with where we're at and then continue to look forward to the next couple of podcasts as we bring everybody in.
Sounds good.
All right.
Have a great weekend, everyone.
Thank you for joining us.
Bye.
Bye.